Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing some Friday flip throughs all summer long as often as I can. And today's Friday flip through is going to be a curriculum option that you guys have asked me to share with you for a very long time. And for some reason I keep saying, I'll do a flip through, I'll do a flip through, and then I've never done it. So now that we have used it for so many years and I feel like we have a good grip on it, we're moving on to book 3. I'm going to be sharing the Simply Charlotte Mason Using Language Well, Spelling Wisdom, books 1, 2, and 3 with you. In a little flip through, I'll give you an explanation of how the curriculum is designed to be used, how we've used it, and give you a peek inside. You can also just go on their website and look at these specific pages more up close and kind of get a visual in case I'm flipping through a little too quickly. So Using Language Well and Spelling Wisdom is designed to be used about 2 days a week. They can be used in tandem, so it's a spelling curriculum as well as a language, writing, grammar curriculum, and they go hand in hand. They work so well, and each book is designed to be used for 2 years. So if you start with book 1 in 3rd grade, like we've done for each of my kids, and you do book 1 for 3rd and 4th, book 2 for 4th and 5th, book 3 for 6th and 7th. No, book 1 for 3rd and 4th, 2 for 5th and 6th, 3 for 7th and 8th, which is where we are right now with using book 3. We got a little off schedule, so we're just starting book 3 now in 8th grade for my daughter, but that's okay because you can really pick up wherever you need to start and go from there. So I have a lot of friends who didn't start book 1 until 5th grade, and that's totally fine. So you can go online, check out all their different levels. There are 5 different levels, and see what would be the best fit for you guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and flip you around and give you a little flip through of Spelling Wisdom and Using Language Well. Okay, so we use this program as a complete program with Using Language Well and Spelling Wisdom. So I'm gonna give you a flip through of book 1, 2, and 3, but there are 5 books. So just to give you a quick overview of what each book covers before I do a flip through of the 3 that I own. Book 1, which like I said, was more recommended toward like 3rd or 4th grade if you're starting with the whole program from the beginning. That goes through basic capitalization, punctuation and usage, contractions, sentences, plurals, possessives, synonyms, antonyms, homonyms, capitalization, punctuation, alphabetizing, prefixes, and suffixes. And then book 2, and I'm just reading this right off their website, that is parts of speech. So that goes through nouns, pronouns, adjectives, verbs, adverbs, interjections, articles, conjunctions, and prepositions. And then book 3, that is the one we're getting ready to start with my oldest daughter. That's sentence analysis, so there's subjects, predicates, subject complements, verbals, phrases, clauses, introduction to poetry analysis. Book 4, which would be recommended for, let's see, like 8th and 9th grade or 9th and 10th grade. That would be composition sharpening, and then book 5 is advanced composition. So that kind of gives you an idea of the program as a whole. Now this program is designed to be done in just 2 days a week if you want to. That's the way that it's designed to be. Sometimes we do 3 or 4 days if we're struggling with a concept, but it's really 15 minutes a day or less typically. So the way that this works is, well, and I'll start here with the student book for book 1. And like I said, all of this can be found online. So there's 140 lessons, so 70 lessons per year. Most lessons in this one take 5 minutes or less. They're designed to be done with the teacher and student together. Most of the questions can be answered orally, and transcription is assigned as part of the lesson. And then the second part of the book is completed independently. Written answers and dictation is assigned and should be written in a separate notebook. So we would start in lesson 1 by turning to exercise, and like I said, this can be found online, the first 3 lessons. Turn to exercise 1 in Spelling Wisdom book 1 and read the motto. Now look carefully at the first 2-word phrase, try to write it from memory on the lines below, then check to make sure you spelled it correctly. And then you do the same process with the other 2-word phrases, being careful to write them correctly, 2 words at a time and in your best handwriting. So we'll go here. And this is just an idea of what some of the exercises are. They're all just selections and excerpts from different, like 5 Little Peppers and How They Grew. A lot of times these are familiar to my kids because we've already read them. Secret Garden. There's some from Treasure Island. Yeah, there it is. Gives you information in here on how to study a word. And then it tells you about how to put a sticky note over something if you spell it incorrectly and write it correctly immediately so that they don't visualize it incorrectly. So here's the motto on lesson 1. It's the Charlotte Mason motto, the I am, I can, I ought, I will. And so then you go back here. You write it from memory on the lines below and make sure you spelled it correctly. So they'll kind of study it and then you say it to them and then they write it down below. Then exercise 2. Read the proverb, look carefully at the first 2 or 3 words, try to write them from memory, and then check to make sure you spelled them correctly. Do the same process for the rest. When you look carefully at a word or two and try to write it from memory, you're transcribing, and then it teaches you about how transcribing is a good way to learn how things are spelled. Then lesson 3, which is also available online. Turn to exercise 3 in Spelling Wisdom and read the proverb, tell what it means. Then 2, words can be divided into pulses, much like music notes are divided into beats. So this is teaching them about syllables, and then they transcribe it below. And then when you get on later in the book, you help them practice doing a few words at a time as you dictate it, and they transcribe it without having to ask back like, okay, wait, what was that? So they get into some longer passages and some, like here, let me see, for example, we'll go to lesson 98 here just so you can see what would happen in year 2 with this book. So they would read this passage here, and then they'd find 2 possessive words, tell whether each is singular or plural and what belongs to each. And then you'll see 6 words in the exercise that have suffix ed. 1 also has a prefix. Record the words below along with their roots. Look carefully for any spelling changes. So they do that. And then again, it goes right together with the Spelling Wisdom part of this, and it's study the exercise until you're prepared for dictation. So they do their kind of grammar stuff, and then they do their spelling all in the same lesson. So that is book 1. And this is just the teacher guide. So I'll go to 98 just so you can see that it's got everything right there for you. Okay, so moving on to book 2. It's set up the same way, 2 lessons a day, 140 lessons, 70 per year. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention about book 1, well, it's not in this, it's actually in the student book. Is that they keep an English points journal in the back. So as they're going through their lessons, it'll tell them at certain points to record this in their English points journal. So I wanted to mention that. Okay, so book 2 of Spelling Wisdom and Using Language Well. So let's start with lesson 3 here. So they turn to exercise 3 in Spelling Wisdom book 2. And here are some samples of what the selective passages are. So as you can see, they're getting a little bit more difficult. Okay, so we'll go to lesson 3 here. So this one says, define assumed in that context. It says, think of a synonym for each of the words below. Remember, a synonym is a word that means the same as another word. How would you put the sentence in the exercise in your own words? And then prepare for dictation by following these steps. Step 1, read the passage and identify which words you don't know how to spell. Step 2, study those words, look at them carefully until you can close your eyes and see them in your mind. Step 3, look closely at the punctuation and capital letters. So this is kind of referring back to what they learned in book 1. Step 4, when you're sure you know how to spell every single word and you're familiar with the punctuation and capitalization, ask your teacher to dictate it to you while you write it in your notebook. And then we'll go to year 2 let's say, let's just go to 98 again. Okay. So this would be, oops, sorry, this would be the second year you're in this book. So you would be reading all of this, and then for each italicized phrase in the lines from the poem, tell whether it's doing the work of an adjective or an adverb and what word it is modifying. Think about what question each phrase answers. And then it's study it until you're prepared for dictation. Emerson wrote that poem in 1837 to be sung at a ceremony that was held when the Concord Monument in Massachusetts was completed. The monument reminds people of the Minutemen's stand against the British forces near the towns of Lexington and Concord and how important that battle was to the American Revolution. And so once they're here, you're going to be dictating longer passages at a time. That's kind of what you're working up to as they get into this book. So they'll do all of this, and then they'll do their spelling by transcribing as you dictate on a separate piece of notebook paper. And then this one as well has the little short lists in the back here. So there's a place for them to reference everything in the back. Okay, and then last but not least is book 3, which is new to us. I just actually got this out of the box, but it is the same deal, 140 lessons. And this one says, book 3 assumes you already know these parts of speech. There's actually a placement test online, or a placement like quiz, not a quiz, but like a, I don't know, what is it called? Just like a guide? Yeah, a placement guide available online if you want to see where to start. So again, we'll go here to lesson 3. So this would typically be started in 7th grade if you followed it exactly how it was designed, but it doesn't have to be followed exactly that way. One thing that I want to mention is that it kind of, a lot of the Charlotte Mason language seems like it's starting very slow, like, oh, you're not even starting this till 3rd grade in book 1, but the purpose of it is to just teach the child once when they're ready to receive it, and then they aren't repeating the same lessons over and over again, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade. So they learn it, they master it, and they move on at the right age. And that has proven to be a very good plan in our house. It's worked really well for my older kids, and I am a believer in that method. So exercise 3, true happiness. So you're reading exercise 3, then you're identifying the part of speech, each italicized word in the sentence. Parse above the words using the following abbreviations. So there's pronoun, linking verb, adverb, common noun, helping verb, preposition, proper noun, adjective, conjunction, action verb, article, and interjection. So they're doing that. Then they're identifying the simple subject and simple predicate verb. Remember to do your analyzing below the words. Write S below the simple subject and P below the simple predicate verb. You learned last time about the object of a preposition. Sentences can have objects too. The direct object usually receives the direct action of an action verb. An easy way to identify the direct object is to say the simple subject and predicate, then ask what. The noun or pronoun that answers that question is usually the direct object. Try it with the sentence you're analyzing above and write do below the direct object. Then it has you prepare for dictation by doing the following steps. And then I'll go ahead and jump to, guess what, number 98, so you can see what the beginning of year 2 or kind of couple months into year 2 would look like. And here we have Barrels of Honey by Henry Ernest Dudney from Amusements in Mathematics. So you've got them reading it. Parse and analyze the following sentence from the exercise. What role is the dependent clause playing in the sentence? Dependent clause acts like an introductory thought and sets the stage for the independent clause that follows. Underline each introductory phrase and mark each introductory dependent clause. Also look for a pattern in the punctuation used with those introductory groups of words, whether phrases or dependent clauses. Record on page 149 what you discovered about punctuation for introductory phrases and dependent clauses. Parse and analyze the following sentence from the exercise. The dependent clause will be acting as a noun. So it has them recording things again. This is new to me. Like I said, I just opened this up. So they have their little guidelines that they're doing back here. And then, once again, I'll just give you a sample, a quick overview, but you can find this online. This would be in the free downloads when you are looking in their bookstore. You can download a sample, so you can see a little sampling here of what the selections are. And then, of course, just like in the other books, you have the answer key for mom or dad or whoever's teaching, which as we get up into some of these higher levels, I may need some guidance with, just to refresh my memory. So that is Using Language Well, Spelling Wisdom, books 1, 2, and 3, a quick overview. But I really do encourage you guys to check out that guide online, the placement guide, as well as some of the downloads and samples that you can see on their website. That was really helpful to me in making my decision. Years ago when we first started with this program, I made my decision by using their guides online. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below, and I will see you soon. Bye guys.